Hello students, I am Deepthi Santosh from St. Thomas College, Bhilai, faculty member, Education Department. Today I am going to explain you about Karl Marx and his principles. So let us learn about Karl Marx. Karl Marx was one of the most influential social thinkers of the 19th century. Karl Marx was the eldest son of Heinrich and Henrietta Marx. He was born on 5th May 1818 in Germany. He was brought up in a typically fairly middle class family. Karl Marx is known to the world as an architect of socialism and a champion of communism. He was a good organizer, committed revolutionary, a voracious reader, and an effective writer. He was a German scholar, a historian, an economist, a political propagandist, a journalist, a great humanitarian, and a philosopher. He committed himself to the cause of the exploited working class. He committed himself to the cause of who? Exploited working class. Working class. Please note exploited working class, and declared a kind of intellectual battle against the exploiting rich or the capitalist class. So, exploited class and the capitalist class. Capitalist class. So, his theory is mainly based on this exploited and exploiting class. His views and thoughts were so powerful and influential that more than 1/3 of the world population was under their grip until recently. His ideology of communism retained its supremacy in many countries for decades. Marx is also considered one among the pioneering sociologists because his views and thoughts have a great sociological influence. Especially he had talked about class conflict. He has talked about alienation. He has talked about social change. So though he never considered himself as a sociologist, but he had developed so many theories related to society and social problems or issues. Marx has founded or propounded so many theories which were very much popular in the world. What were his theories? Theories were theory of scientific communism. Theory of scientific communism. It is also very much popular. Then he also enunciated the theory or the law of dialectical and historical materialism, which we will be explaining in this video. He enunciated dialectical or historical materialism. Then his third theory was theory of surplus value. Theory of surplus values. Now all these three theory, it have great sociological or socio-political and economic significance. These have social, political and economic significance in the society. So he has contributed a lot in the society, and he is also a chief architect of two more theories, that is theory of alienation and theory of class conflict. Theory of alienation and theory of class conflict. Theory of alienation and theory of class conflict. This has lot of sociological impact on the society. There has been lot of main contributions of Marx. What were the main contributions of the Marx was, firstly, he contributed an idea of, so many contributed, but the first contribution is idea of communism. He brought about the idea of communism to the society. At the same time, he spoke or he propounded the theory of social change and conflict. Social change and conflict, which is evident in every society. At the same time, this Marx also, recent sociologist or the socialist and the communist, the modern socialist and communist, are so much inspired through his theories that they still follow him. Millions of people accept this theory, this most religious paper. They follow this religiously, and they have a lot of social significance. His class, social class, class conflict, social change, alienation. It has a lot of sociological significance. Now let us talk about his historical materialism. Let us talk about his historical materialism. Historical materialism. What is this historical materialism? Historical materialism, much associated with Karl Marx, champion of communism. The theory of historical materialism is also known as materialistic interpretation of history. It is also known as materialistic interpretation of history. Why? Because according to Marx, the material interpretation of history happens only through knowing about the economic condition of the people. Material history, you can assess the condition of the history, you can assess the social conditions through the material aspects of the society. So this concept is actually taken from his friend Hegel, who was an ideologist, but he has propounded the theory of dialectical materialism. Dialectical materialism. This dialectical materialism means what? Before knowing about dialectical materialism, you should know what is dialectical means. Dialectical means discussion. Discussion. So every society, every era of society is formed or framed because of this economic condition. Materialism here means economic conditions of that society. So everywhere According to him, matter is primary and mind is secondary. Matter here means material things are always primary and mind is secondary. He never believed in spiritual ideas. He believed in material things. He believed that world is by nature material, and the different phenomena in the world are different forms of matter and movement. The material life of society depends upon the method of securing the means of livelihood. Materialism itself means method of securing the means of livelihood and the way of producing the material values. According to the argument of dialectical materialism, the opposite forces which are always present constitute the moving force of history. There is always opposite forces present in the history. Opposite forces. There is always opposite forces present in the society, and which is the moving force of history. Moving force of history. Why opposite forces are always a moving force of history? Opposite force means what? There will be always the dominant force in the society, and there will be always dominated force, the dominated people in the society. That always the dominating force will always suppress the people whom they are, who are working under them. So these dominating forces, they will always assume the role of a thesis. These dominating forces, that is those who own capital, forms a thesis of the society. And the people who are the sufferers, who work under them, they are always, or they are called, or work under them, they will not necessarily always be suppressed. They will soon confront even them and defeat those dominating forces, and they are called as these laborers. Laborers, they are called as antithesis. These dominate capital, the people who own capital dominate, that is why they are called as a thesis of the society. And the people who are sufferers, they are the laborers, they will confront these landlords, and that is why they are called as antithesis. And later, this contest finally results in the production of a synthesis. Later on, this too results in synthesis. Synthesis means both their values are confronted, and that lead to class struggle. So thesis and antithesis later on leads to class struggle. So actually all evolution is a result of economic forces alone. In a society, you have seen the society evolving. If there is different stages of society. Capitalism was not there before. Socialism was not there before. Feudalism was not there before. In the beginning, there was an agrarian society. Slowly, capitalism and all those things started. And there is but all evolution is a result of the economic forces alone. So economic forces, the prominent dynamic agency of human society and its history. So dynamic agency of human society means whatever changes have happened in a human society, or whatever changes has happened in a history, if you go back and look at the history, that is only and only because of the economic forces. Because the advancement is based on the economic conditions. So economic conditions determine historical phenomena. So essential aspects of when we talk about the essential aspects of dialectic materialism or materialistic interpretation of history, the material or economic condition are more important than the ideological or spiritual things. So what is more important here? Material aspect is more important. Material aspect is more important than the spiritual aspect. In dialectical materialism, material aspect is more important than spiritual aspect. This was the findings of Karl Marx. And secondly, economic structure is referred to as infrastructure of a society. Economic structure is referred to as infrastructure of a society. What do you mean by that? Infrastructure of a society. That means your infrastructure of the society depends on the economic condition of the society. If the economic condition of the society is very good, then the infrastructure of the society or the condition of the society too will be very good, and that is based on the forces of production and the relation of production. Here the forces of the production means the capital or the owners of the capital, and the relation of the production means the laborers or the workers who work for them. Then thirdly, the economic infrastructure constitutes the basis on which the social, political, religious, moral, educational, legal and other institutional network referred to as superstructure is built. That is, social consciousness, which includes thoughts, ideologies and philosophies of the people, is rooted in this institutional network. Then next is the forces of conflict, which are associated with historical development within the society, have brought about conflict within the economic infrastructure, that is between the forces of production and relation of production. That is, there is conflict between forces of production and relation of production. Forces of production and relation. There is conflict between forces of production and relation of production. Forces of production means the capitalists, and the relation of production means the people who are related to those capitalists for work. Then next is the modes of production determine the character of the social, political and intellectual life in general. Modes of production. So that is, change in the system of production brings about transformation in the social, political, legal and cultural institution. The form of production, that is the cause of difference between the legal, political, intellectual and religious institution. That is, what do you mean by this? Modes of production determine the character of social, political, intellectual life in general. Modes of production here means in every society, in every stages of the society, there was modes of production was different, isn't it? And that always determine the character of the society. Modes of production determine what? Character of the society. For example, pastoral society, feudal society, capitalist societies, isn't it? You have heard of pastoral, feudal and then capitalist, socialist, communist. So production, the mode of production in pastoral was different, mode of production in feudal was different, and mode of production in capitalist was also different. That determined the social character of the society, that is social, political and intellectual life in general. Next, there are 5 stages in the development of society which correspond to 5 consecutive modes of production. 5 stages. What are these 5 stages? 5 stages. According to Karl Marx, the nature of society and its structure depends very much on the mode of production. That I have told you, nature of society and the structure depends on the mode of production. And there are different modes of production, that is 5 stages in the development of society which corresponds to 5 consecutive modes. And that is, I'll try to explain the nature of the society, how the nature of the society changes according to the change in the modes of production. That I'm going to explain through 5 stages. First stage was primitive society and primitive mode of production. First stage is primitive society. Okay. And what is the mode of production? Primitive mode. Actually, these people never produced for business purpose. They produced for themselves, for their own livelihood. So that is a primitive society, primitive mode of production was there. And next is your ancient society. Next comes the ancient society. There they had the ancient mode of production. Ancient mode of production means here private property is, in primitive society, private property is owned by the producers, means the community themselves, isn't it? And in ancient society, ancient mode of production was there. There is slavery in which one class owns and the other member exploits the members of the another. Means owners of the slaves of the means of production get everything substantial, and the poor and the slaves receives very little. So here there is owners of production and slaves. Owners and slaves. Then third is feudal society. In feudal society you have feudal mode of production. What kind of production is that? That is the class of aristocratic landlords or barons exploit the mass of peasants or serfs. That is, landlords exploits the peasants or serfs. Okay, so that system was prevalent in feudal system. The next stage of society was, what is that? Capitalist society. Capitalist society. What do you find in capitalist society? Mode of production was, what kind of mode of production? Capitalist mode of production. Production was there, and the means of production, all the important means of production, and make it was owned by the capitalist, and they make the workers or as wage slaves or tools. They made the workers. So here was capitalists plus the workers or slaves. So here the owners of wealth exploit the mass of industrial workers. Here in the first, except this first stage, ancient, feudal and capitalist stage, you find the material condition are so important that they determine the political and social conditioning. Here means primitive society, except primitive society, there was no issue of exploitation there. But in ancient, feudal and capitalist society, what happened? There is one class where exploitation was done to the other class by one class to the other class. So mental attitude of the people is a product of material conditions. So society goes through these different stages to ultimately reach a stage of classless society. After this, there is a fifth stage, that is communist society, which had what kind of socialist mode of production. After this, they have a struggle. That means thesis owners, they were called as a thesis, and the antithesis happened in the communist mode of production. Here what happened? Come in this socialist mode of production happened in communist society. So different they reach a classes society. How? There is a fight among the ideologies. Every stage was better in every next history, but the tension of the class conflict led to the revolution that resulted in the fifth stage. Here all you have a class conflict which later resulted on the fifth stage, that is socialism or communism. In the communist society or the fifth stage, the mode of production is socialist. The socialist mode of production is based on social ownership. Here what happens? Why there is no, there's a classless society, there is no class conflict? Because of social ownership. Social ownership means owned by the state. This stage is found when the industrial workers have finally revolted. That means in the beginning I have told you about the thesis, then antithesis, then lead to synthesis. Now you understood this concept, the synthesis. Thesis, that means the capitalists, landlords, owners, they always exploit. How far they will be, how far they will tolerate. The other who were exploited by them, they confronted. That's why there was a formation of antithesis in the society. And because of this thesis and antithesis in the society, there happened a synthesis. That synthesis is called as a class struggle. That's resulted in a class struggle. This class struggle eventually led to the communist ideology or the social ownership of the things, where that dissolved the class concept, that is classless society. This way I finish off with this topic of Marx, and there is one more important topic related to Marx, that is class conflict, that I will continue in my next video. So I hope that you have understood about Karl Marx and his ideologies or principles, and about the dialectical materialism. Thank you all.